Hello and welcome to Football Worldwide's Champions League show. I'm joined with a couple of familiar faces here. Anthony, how are you, mate?
Good, brother. How you going? Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. It's exciting to have Champions League back, and we had some fantastic results. And we'll throw it over to you, Jonathan. Welcome back, my partner in crime.
Thank you, brother. How good is it to have the Champions League back? Probably our most exciting time of the year, to be honest.
Oh, 100%. And to hear that anthem when the Champions League kicks off, it literally sends shivers down your spine. But today, guys, we will be going through each of the pots, the results, and how we think the teams fared. Did they really live up to expectations? Because there were definitely some surprises there. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it. We'll have the results running down the bottom. We'll start with Group A. So we have the Group A was Manchester City, PSG, Club Brugge, and RB Leipzig, with an exciting result there. And Jonathan, PSG, Club Brugge, it didn't pan out the way everyone thought it was.
No, look, it was the first time that the so-called MNM played together live. So, yeah, look, they didn't live up to expectation, to be perfectly honest. Just to go through some of the things that happened during the game, Herrera scored for PSG his fourth goal of the season. Hans Vanken for Club Brugge scores in his third consecutive game. Messi tried all he could, just couldn't do what he needed to. To me, Neymar was below par. Club Brugge really took it to PSG. In all seriousness, they're a formidable force. We actually thought, PSG with all the power that they got would just roll through it, but wasn't meant to be. PSG's defense had a bit of a wake-up call, and Mbappe coming off injured in the 52nd minute. They were the main highlights from what I could take out of the game. And yeah, what else? What did you think about it?
Ant, were you surprised, or was it a reality shock that PSG needed this one-all draw?
No, it's one of those things where the Club Brugge players would be in the locker room going, "You got a chance to make history tonight, boys. Are you going to be that German team that does what everybody expects and gets whipped by the richest club in Europe, or are you going to be the team that everybody talks about for stopping the richest club in Europe coming here and whipping you?" And that's what they wanted to do, and that's what they did. And full credit to them. It's not the first time that's happened in the Champions League. It won't be the last time that happens in the Champions League. PSG will get enough points to go through, and at the end of the day, the attacking trio will do as well as they can with each other and as well as they can with the luxurious substitutes to come off the bench for them. PSG will be fine.
Yeah, look, I got to agree there. I just think it was you still need to see that chemistry and that gel between them. But let's get to some of the comments. There's some familiar names here. Indra Hari, hello. Yes, you're referring to the Inter result. Cartel, what's up, G? That's it. And Uncle Sharma, always a pleasure to have you here in our chat. But the second fixture of Group A was a 9-goal thriller between Manchester City and RB Leipzig. But my God, it was just backwards and forwards non-stop the whole time. And I think I'll cover this because I am a Man City fan, but I don't think City ever looked to be in dire straits. It was 2-0, then Leipzig got a goal, and within minutes, Man City would kick back and make it 3-1, and then Leipzig would get a goal, and within minutes, and it just went backwards and forwards until Leipzig got the red card, and that just they shut it out. But the talk's been Manchester City lacking that number 9, lacking that striker, and they've put 6 goals in what was just a cutthroat performance. And their £100 million man in Jack Grealish was just phenomenal. He was everywhere in the park. It was fantastic to see him and Kevin De Bruyne work really well together. And just his goal was absolutely textbook Grealish. But I think that's all that's really got to be said when it comes to Group A. Overall, you just look at Manchester City and you got to think that they are the favourites, and performance they put out today. But there are a couple of comments. Poch still thinking he is managing the Spurs, still doing a bottle job. Look, Poch is not he hasn't got a trophy to his name, so how can he be managing and expecting this team to go to the next level? Winning Champions League is not in PSG's DNA, guys. I think people are not happy with PSG. I think the transfer market has turned the crowd against them. That is true. I thought you were an Inter fan, Bruno. Yes, I am an Inter fan. I will be an Inter fan until I die. But I also do support Manchester City in the Champions League. But if I had to choose one, it would definitely be
in the Champions League.
If I had to choose one in the Champions League,
that's how low he expects Inter to perform in the Champions League.
Leave me alone. It's been a long day, but
it has.
Let's move on to Group B. This was the second group of death, which is hard to predict, but there was two fixtures here: Liverpool, AC Milan, Atletico Madrid, and Porto. Anthony, Liverpool, AC Milan. We've seen this game many times before. What can we talk about?
Cracker, bro. Cracker, G. Cracker fixture, man. You've got the Istanbul Classic. You got the replay 2 years later where Pippo Inzaghi scored the goal to start it off an Andrea Pirlo free kick, and then he scored the second one as well. This is a match that goes down in history. You combine that with the fact that AC Milan, they're a massive rival to Inter at the end of the day, but I'll put my respect where respect is due. They are a heavyweight European club. They are the second or third, I can't even from memory. I think it is second most decorated Champions League club in history. And for them to come back and play their first game back against Liverpool, it's huge, man. It's absolutely huge. Tomori with an own goal to start it off in the 9th minute after Liverpool pressed really, really heavy. It's more probably a goal for what's his name? Not Robertson, Alexander-Arnold. He's done the majority of the legwork there for that one. But then out of nowhere, and I mean absolutely nowhere, Rebic and Brahim Diaz make it 2-1 by halftime in the space of like 2 minutes. Come second half, Salah and Henderson do the work, and Klopp's men have got the 3 points. But if I was AC Milan, bro, I'd be going back into that dressing room going, we belong here and we need to be here. But fatigue will set in, and we'll see how they go in the competition, man.
Yeah, look, I think many would agree. AC Milan is one of those names that has been missed from the Champions League in the last 8 years, 9 years, however long it's been. But you got to give credit where credit's due. They really did bounce back. I was looking at the AC Milan scoreline, and I'm like, oh, they're down 1-0. The story's written it's writing itself here. And then check the scores at halftime, and it's 2-1. I didn't know what happened there, but Atletico Madrid and Porto, they played a goalless draw, so that leaves Liverpool on top on their own, with Porto and Atletico Madrid sharing the spoils, getting a 1 point each, and AC Milan in dead last. But what can you say about the Atletico Porto game? It was honestly an even fixture, and a draw is probably the fairest result when it comes to that game there. I could not give anything else there. In regards to this this group, we do have a comment. Liverpool are missing lots of players and still dominated the game. The scoreline didn't do Liverpool justice. Look, when you play in the Premier League, it's one thing, but the Champions League is a different ball game. And AC Milan, whether you like it or not, are built for the Champions League. That is for sure. Let's move on to Group C. That is, we have Sporting and Ajax, Besiktas and Dortmund. I will take this one over. Sporting 1, Ajax 5. What a game it was, and cutthroat Ajax were just unstoppable. And Haller, 4 goals out of the 5 for Ajax on debut. On his Champions League debut, he scored 4, and he's one of only 2 players to ever do that. And the other one, I don't want to get this wrong, but I think was Van Basten. I could be corrected, but it was a Dutch player. I don't remember. I think it is him, but it was all Ajax. They were all over Sporting from start to finish. Within 10 minutes, it was already it was already 2-0. And you just knew it would take something special for Sporting to get back into it. At 3-1, they did have a goal ruled out Sporting, but it really wouldn't have changed the dynamic of that fixture. They just were all over the park, Ajax, and they just had Sporting covered from the get-go. And you just, with that performance, you really can say this Ajax, I'm sure you boys would remember the Ajax that knocked out Juventus and put a couple of teams down a couple of years ago before they got gutted. This was very reminiscent of that performance. And the other fixture, Besiktas and Dortmund, tongue twister, ended in a 2-1 result. It was quite flattering that Besiktas got a goal. It was in the 94th, 95th minute that they did get that goal. But overall, it was just Dortmund. And you really think the two winners in the first two groups are going to go through to the next round. Indra Hari, Dortmund, so wasteful. Pjanic running the show for that team. Yes, I am not going to I'm not going to pronounce it incorrectly again. But look, Pjanic was running the show, but you can't run a one-man show in Turkey, that's for sure. And Dortmund could have made it 4-5-0. But at the end of the day, they know how to get the job done, and they did. Is it the Sporting manager, the new Mourinho? Need to watch the game. Apparently. But we'll see how that goes. But overall, boys, in Group C, do you see the script going any other way other than Ajax and Dortmund? Jonathan?
I'll take it first. No, not really, to be honest. Besiktas, by all means, I followed them back in the day a bit more when Galatasaray was in the Champions League quite often as well. And, they've had a few players which I've known back in the day that have come to Australia and all that type of thing. So there was definitely a team I have enjoyed watching in the past. Besiktas is, look, they can definitely give the group a run for their money. Ajax and Dortmund you would expect to go through, but Besiktas, they're no pushover by all means. And, they were the Turkish league last year went down to the last match to determine the who won the league. So no, I wouldn't say it's all done and dusted. They're definitely going to perform better than what a lot of people would expect them to.
And do you disagree with that summation there?
No, but Besiktas is still a side that's got plenty of European experience, and they're already sitting atop of the Turkish league, and they probably will sit on top of the Turkish league for majority of the season. So any team that has the sort of domestic confidence will always carrying it into Europe. This is a tough group, man. Like, in terms of groups of death, in context, there's about 3 or 4. In terms of pedigree of the clubs, it's easy to choose one. But in terms of context and relative strength to how close they are in the group, there's actually 3 or 4 groups of death. And this is exactly one of them again, man. So I'm keen, bro. I'm keen to see how this one goes. What's the next one?
Yeah, look, I believe it was covered quite extensively when Uncle Sharma, Christian Rivas, and myself did the live stream for the Champions League draw. This is probably one of the most evenly drawn Champions League group stage you will ever see. And other than the Juventus-Chelsea group, where you can sort of say, if those two teams don't qualify, there's big problems there. You really can't predict many of the other groups, which the results have shown this week so far. So without further ado, we'll move to Group D. Anthony has already covered it across on Interworldwide, so we won't start with that fixture. FC Sheriff, their first Moldovan team to ever play in the Champions League in their first ever Champions League fixture at home, upset Shakhtar Donetsk in what was De Zerbi's first Champions League fixture as manager. This was something that, and I remember saying they're going to be the Weeping Boys, but Anth, what can you say about this match?
So Shakhtar Donetsk have had a good start. domestically as they usually do in Europe. They usually rival one side and one side only at the top, and that's usually Dynamo Kiev. And they're only 1 point behind Dynamo Kiev at the moment. So they came into this match full of confidence, as they usually would. De Zerbi, former Sassuolo manager in Serie A, has got them playing a brand of football that they're really disjointed from in terms of where they were coming from last season. They took a bit of a step back last season from their sort of samba Brazilian style of football and played a little bit more of a conservative style. It was a style that really tricked Inter in the Champions League, because the year before that, Inter had them in the Europa League and they were playing an almost different style of football. Now they've gone back to De Zerbi and the players have had to shift it up again. And today they really got found out hard on the break. They failed to break down the defense, and it was very frustrating to watch, man. And when Sheriff got the win, I thought, wow, this is the sort of result that could really spur this side on to maybe make the Europa League. And that means they're going to put in a harder shift against the big boys in the competition. A side like Real Madrid would be looking at them and not being scared. I don't support Real Madrid. I support this team, which means I'm scared of them coming up against their own youth squad half the time, let alone a Champions League squad. It's going to be a tight group. So with your permission, I'll move on to the Inter game now. Fantastic. Inter, absolutely divine performance in the first half. You've got players like Brozovic and Skriniar putting in 8 out of 10 shifts, and Brozovic said it perfectly in his man of the match interview. If you don't score 1 goal, let alone 2 or 3, when you've got that many chances against Real Madrid, don't expect to stay home with 1 point or go home with 1 point. You leave with nothing. Simple as that. And that's what Inter left with today. It's not the end of the world for the Nerazzurri boys, because you lose to Real Madrid. It's not the end of the world. You get that result out of the way match day 1. It's not the end of the world, because you can make up for it by beating Shakhtar and Sheriff back to back before you even come up against Madrid again. So that would have, that we've got the luxury of having that there. Altogether, a disappointing result, but I look forward to doing this episode again and keeping people updated with Inter's Champions League progress.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if you look at it, the Sheriff result really played into the hands of Inter as well, in the sense of Shakhtar don't have that, because you're expecting Shakhtar to be the challenger for that Europa/Champions League position. So with them on 0 points as well, it takes a bit of the pressure off Inter. But Absolutely. There are a fair few Inter fans in the chat here, so let's throw it to them. Thank you to the people who are tuning in live, and to those who aren't, you'll be able to catch us every Champions League, at the conclusion of every Champions League match day, doing this. Razor of Orion. Both Milan clubs were unlucky yesterday. Look, I would say Inter more so, but they both did put an honourable performance out. Inter were unlucky. Can't say the same about Milan. Oh, you just took the words out of my mouth, Cartel. Is Sheriff playing good, or Shakhtar simply wasteful? Indra Hari, wasteful is your favourite word today, isn't it? But look, it's when you're coming up again, and I've always said this, and I think, Anthony, we can go back to the video where you and I covered Inter versus Slavia Praha. It's the teams you don't see often and the teams you don't hear properly. They're the ones that you want to really study, because you've never seen them before. Watching Skriniar against Shakhtar against Monaco and UCL qualification. Shakhtar's lucky. Yeah, I think so. Simone should have used Dzeko like Ibra, the Pioli, limiting his movement to drop deep. Dzeko ended up in no man's land with our wing-backs position.
The thing is, just about that, Indra, just remember that Real Madrid, even though they didn't come at us hard in the first half, they were defending very, very deep, man. So it was still in our best interest to try and connect midfield to attack. And at the moment with Hakan, honestly, he's a poor man's Eriksen. We know that, bro. That's why we're using Dzeko for that extra man up. You know this, my guy.
Yeah, definitely. Fantastic words there. Jonathan, before we move on, I know you're an Inter fan too. Is there anything you wanted to add?
It's Real Madrid at the end of the day. Let's be perfectly honest. I know this is a much weaker Real Madrid than what they have been in the previous years, but even like Amp said, I fear going up against their youth squad. In all seriousness, they've got that. They've honestly got that pedigree. We are only just recently coming into this Inter side under Conte, now under Inzaghi, coming into this new type of performance, which we've been known to love this team and so forth, but we still have a long way to go. And, I'm just happy that they picked up off the weekend, and they played well this morning to today's game to a certain extent, but we're not through to the next round yet. So we've got to take it one game at a time in all seriousness.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you there. I will stay with you, Jonathan, as we move to Group E in what was one of the most looked forward to fixtures in match day one in the Champions League. Bayern Munich, who defeated Barcelona 3-0. But in your honest opinion, did you see it going any other way?
No. And in all seriousness, it was lucky that it was only 3-0. Then it wasn't more. After last year with Bayern, I think it was last year, was it? They pumped them 8-2. Or was that the year before, guys? Refresh my memory. Yeah. By all means, this was a training session for Bayern Munich. They looked like they didn't even get out of second gear type thing. Muller started the scoring with a deflected goal. Lewandowski with a brace, as he does well. Barcelona, not one shot on target. That was, even Memphis Depay's been performing so well, as we've been covering during our European weekly catch-up, Bruno. But he was isolated up top, could not get the service, and Bayern Munich just completely smothered them and did not even give them a look. Just wanted to raise a comment that was Gerard Piqué came out after the game. So what he had come to say is, we competed in the first half. Bayern took the lead with a deflected goal. In the end, I don't know how many kids we had on. It is what it is. We are what we are. To me, it is what it is. We are what we are. To me, this is a dejected captain of a once amazing club. This club has not just because Messi's gone, this club has completely lost their identity, and they do not, at the moment, this squad does not deserve to be in the Champions League because they are woeful. It is one thing to come against in La Liga, against a lot of the, second division teams, let's be perfectly honest, even though it is a competitive league amongst those top tiers to the bottoms, but they do not deserve to be in the Champions League, and they've got a lot of hurt coming their way before they are going to start performing.
Yeah, look, I think enough was said there. You're pretty critical of Barcelona, but yeah, when your captain's coming out and just being as dejected as what he was, you really got to feel for him. He's been one of the most loyal players when it comes to Barcelona. So let's see if they can learn from their mistakes. The other fixture in the group was Dynamo Kiev sharing the spoils with Benfica in a 0-0 draw. It was a fantastic fixture, Anthony. I can see you giving the thumbs up.
It was such a good game, man. It was such a good game for a 0-0 draw. I watched the extended highlights and I had nothing to do for 2 hours. I'm like, you know what? I'm actually going to watch the 60-minute replay of this game. And it was such a good 0-0 draw. Man, it was just one of those games. Dynamo Kiev thought they snatched it right from the depths, man. Right from the depths. And if there's one thing I'll say it right now and I'll say it again on every channel this season. This whole VAR is ruining the emotional side of celebrating goals, man. From a player, a management, a fan perspective. How do you celebrate a last-minute goal in the Champions League and then wait 90 seconds and have it get yanked from you, bro? My heart bleeds for anyone that cops it this season, and Dynamo Kiev copped it this week in the Champions League, man.
Well, look, you said your heart bleeds. My heart bleeds for you. You're a Manchester United fan at heart. And that is the group we are making our way to. And so I will state on you, Anthony, it was probably the upset of the round, let alone the upset of Group F. Young Boys defeating Manchester United 2-1. I'm just going to give you, this is your show now, and talk to us.
Bruv, this Manchester United team on paper, it's almost as good as PSG's team. Let's be honest, bro. This is a PlayStation team. You got Donkey Kong driving a Ferrari here, man. That's the problem. Ole Gunnar Freestyle is not going to make it past anybody in the Champions League, let alone Young Boys. And it's horrible to say, but if I was Ronaldo, man, I'd be shitty. Sorry for using that sort of language, but you score another goal in your game and then you've got to watch Aaron Wan Bespastic absolutely go studs up on a guy and then the Man United just capitulate completely. this is the sort of game where you can see that there's almost no tactical setup, man, and players look absolutely void of any sort of regressive style of football that would conserve and deplete the other team of their attacking energy. When you're Manchester United with these sort of players, that can't happen. You need to be able to hit them on the break, hold the ball, hold it in certain gaps, draw tactical fouls, and get dead ball situations to get into dangerous positions. They did none of that, bro. They did none of that. They're in a tough group as well. So I'm just going to move on right to the next game because there's an Italian team in that group, Bruno. So Atalanta 2-2 at Spain, in Spain to Villarreal, which is a good result. They were down 2-1. So by getting that late goal with Gossens in the 83rd minute, that's a good result for them. Atalanta, for me, represent the best chance that an Italian side has to go deep in this competition. Even though I would say they're not as good as Inter, they're not as good as Juventus, they're not as good as Milan either. And you know what? They've got a tough group, but I can see Gasperini grinding out enough points almost to edge out Manchester United in this group. But watch this space. We'll see what happens. This, like every other group, it's going to be a wild ride, man.
Yeah, look, and I think I've said it enough, but when it comes to Ole, I feel if you look at other managers when they go down to 10 men, look at Tuchel in the Chelsea-Liverpool situation, that he managed to hold on. Mourinho, you would know he can manage to hold on. Conte, you would know. But Ole just takes Sancho straight off, and you just know from that point on, it's going backwards. When you've got Fred in the midfield and you're taking Sancho off, who can provide that extra space that you need. And then you look and you see on the cameras that Zidane's there with Ferguson talking, and you just have in your mind that something's going on in the background, because I'm not sure how long Manchester United, let alone Cristiano Ronaldo, can last with Ole at the wheel if this is the way that it's going to go.
There's no reason why Cristiano Ronaldo, even though he's a player, should be standing up on the sideline and trying to play assistant manager, bro. You need to sit down to send the right message to the rest of your team. It's all well and good doing it for your nation, Portugal, in Euro 2016. That's a bit of a different ball game. Please don't set a precedent for this now this season, man, because if you start doing it now, it could go on. Just another thing about Ole as well, it was just something basic, and I've never managed outside of a high school environment, so I can't really talk, man, but when you need to hold the ball and you need players to draw tactical fouls and slow the attack down, you should be bringing in Anthony Martial, not Jesse Lingard for that amount of time. You bring on Jesse Lingard to tire out legs in the last few minutes. I thought he got that wrong in the wrong way around. But that's just another small thing in what Gerald is calling a Solskjaer disaster class. Even Fred was good in the game, yet they still lost. Yeah, man, it's individual brilliance FC. That's what Manchester United is, bro.
Yeah, and just one more thing about my favourite manager, Ole. I've got no axe to grind against him, but it seems every week I'm hitting the mark. 11 Champions League matches. Do you know how many he's won? 4.
And in all 4 of those games, Manchester United have had a game-deciding penalty decision that shifted momentum in their favour.
Lost 7 and no draws. So, mate, this guy he's like you said, mate. He's like Donkey Kong in a Mario Kart. He's just
in a Ferrari.
In a Ferrari. You're right. Sorry.
Anything. Yeah.
Anyway, go Bruno.
Yeah, look, a couple of the comments, they're all on the same page here. Indra Hari, Gerald, you're all on the same point, and you both make the same point as well. Atalanta will suffer a big defeat to United. Look, I think that is probably the case, but it doesn't stop Atalanta from getting through and making their moves to the next stage. Let's move on. Group G. Sevilla and Salzburg played a 1-1 draw. Lille and Wolfsburg played a 0-0 draw. So essentially, goal difference 0 for all 4 teams. Point 1 for all 4 teams. Back to the drawing board. And next match day, well, it's like match day 1 for them again.
So in this particular fixture, I don't know if you boys saw it, but there were that many penalties in the Sevilla and the Red Bull Salzburg game. That was such a funny game to watch in the first half. I could not believe how many penalties were given. All legit as well. Me personally, I want to know what's up with the Sevilla goalkeeper. You've already conceded penalties and you come out and you charge the guy like that again. It was an amazing game, and that's just the Champions League for you, bro. And the fact that the fans were going nuts to that as well, I don't know. I thought it was quite comedic.
Yeah,
and
look,
the Wolfsburg game. Sorry, Bruno, you go.
No, go for it, Jono.
Gonna say the Wolfsburg game. There not much happened there other than a red card for one of the Wolfsburg players, but it was a bit of a stalemate, that one.
Yeah, and look, we said it in the European Weekly catch-up. Wolfsburg have had the perfect start in the Bundesliga, the only team in the Bundesliga to have the perfect start. So coming up against the champions of France, well, we will expect a win, but at the same time, I can't see Lille getting through. But Group G will probably be the most boring, other than the penalties in the Sevilla fixture. Group H, Chelsea, Zenit, Malmo, Juventus. The scripts were written before. You could have predicted this beforehand. But, Jonathan, run me through the Chelsea Zenit fixture, and then I'll throw it over to you, Anthony, for the Juventus Malmo fixture.
So Chelsea won, obviously 1-0 over Zenit St. Petersburg. Lukaku scoring the only goal of the match. Chelsea had a good game. They were well organised. But in saying that as well, Zenit actually did themselves quite well. Sorry that we're keeping you up there, Anthony.
Sorry,
but yeah, you're right, brother. But Zenit almost tied it late, to be perfectly honest. They actually played quite well. Man, all you can say of Chelsea is Tuchel, the masterclass. For having won the Champions League last year, this is a team that knows how to adapt to the situation and play to what they need to. They play to their strengths, and they can, like other teams can't. So, Chelsea just controlled the match in the sense of they did what they needed to get the 3 points.
Yeah, look, and I think as an Inter fan, we're all burn a little bit when we see Lukaku get on the end of those goals, but good on him and good on Chelsea. It was predicted there. Anthony, Juventus, they finally get 3 points. It's just not domestic.
Yeah, man. And just want to say that Lukaku header, man, that's a world-class headed goal, bro. There's headed goals, and then there's getting in between four shoulders to get that through, bro. Like, that's a proper world-class level-up goal for him. So I was actually very happy when he scored that, because that's a level-up sort of goal. The Juve game, really good game from Juve, man. You know how much I love to talk about Juventus, especially when they win. But, ultimately, like, stroll in the park for them, and they needed it. They needed a performance like this. Hadn't won yet this season. It didn't seem likely midway through the first half. Like, they were actually struggling just a little bit, but once they got their momentum going, they weren't really going to look back. So 3 goals by halftime, a goal for Morata for his confidence, almost a fourth, and Kulusevski flicked it on well for Mose Ken, but it wasn't to be. 3-0, tough group. I expect Chelsea to make it difficult for them. I expect Zenit to maybe push them a little bit, but ultimately Juventus would be very, very disappointed if they don't go through to the round of 16.
I'm going to throw it to you, Anth. Do Juventus get the 3 points against AC Milan this weekend in the Serie A? Just going off Champions League performances this week.
That is a great question. To be honest, I can't answer it. Both teams are in a really good position to play well. Just because AC Milan didn't get points in the Champions League doesn't mean they won't go into this fixture on the weekend still feeling top of the table and ready to go against Juve, man. So stay tuned to all outlets, because that's going to be a cracker.
It is currently 9 p.m. and all three of us have been up since 5 a.m. for the Inter fixture, so it has been a long night. I'm struggling. Anthony's struggling. Jonathan, he is quietly struggling. He won't admit it, but I would love to thank. I'd love to thank you, Jonathan, for always being there alongside me in these videos, mate.
Always, mate. We got one more thing before we go, yeah?
Oh, yes. One more thing. I will bring it up. I always forget that one more thing when it comes to this. I'll bring it up.
So, guys, as you know, this is a brand new channel. This is something that we're doing now to kick us off. We're going to be doing a bit of a competition, and we're going to give away some of our hats. So we're going to put up a post on our socials for the further details, but keep an eye out for that, and we'll be drawing that. Maybe in a week or two, Bruno. We'll see how we go, mate. Yeah, what do you reckon, Amp? We'll pump it for a little bit.
Sounds good. Week or two.
Yeah, definitely. Keep an eye on the socials, guys, and we'll go from there. But that's it from me. Thank you, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Always a pleasure. We'll catch up with you, boys. And, yeah, I'll catch you on next week's European Weekly catch-up. Off to you, boys.
Anthony, Thank you. As always. It's been a long day on your front, from interworldwide constant videos across the world to coming on this. We're going to see you on the Serie A roundtable as well on Football Worldwide, but always a pleasure to have you here, mate.
Thanks for having me, bro. And just wait for the energy I bring when Inter gets 3 points in the Champions League, bro. Just wait.
Let's hope that's the next fixture, because I can't wait much longer. But from all of us here at Football Worldwide, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you on the flip side, guys. Take care.
Ciao.